Okay, I see a notification that I am live. All right. Welcome to episode 43 of the Makercast. My name is Guy Dupont. I'm hosting this month with some wonderful guests, as always. Oh no, I can hear myself. All right, we're good. It wouldn't be a proper intro if I didn't butcher it within like the first 30 seconds. Okay. Please make up our minds. Is it Makercast or Makercast? It's both. It's all.
It's also the Makercast.
It's also the Makercast, yeah. So the month is September. We are very excited to be back in action. We have a new newsletter. I believe the link should be down in the video description below, featuring some work from some folks you see here, as well as many others. It's really, it's been great getting that. And so if you're interested in even more content from folks like us, check that out. But for now, let's talk to the people we have in this stream with me here. So as I said, I'm Guy. I am happy to be returning and happy to introduce, we have a first timer among us. We have John.
Hi.
You just say hello, wave for now. We have Jason. I just learned how to switch people from Dave, so this is super fun. Speaking of, we have davedarko. Very exciting to be back on with him. And Bradan Lane. Hello. We have the very cool emoji action for Bradan. Love it.
There we go.
And oh, I did this well because Bradan is actually going to kick us off, I think, talking about his latest work.
My oh my. So thank you. I wanted to take a little time today. I think I got about 9 minutes, and then everybody else is going to just sign off after that. I recently created what I call the Lumis Stick. So it's 280 LEDs. It's 7 rows of 4. I make it available primarily with CircuitPython, but of course it can run C code. So the 3 demos you see on the side here, the one with the scrolling text, the clock, and my little homage to war games. Those are actually all running CircuitPython. The little bouncy stick and the spectrum analyzer, those are running C code using fast LED. But the device itself is actually pretty simple. Bounce over here. So this gives you an idea of the size of it. So there's 7 rows on that. And then on the back, it holds a spot for a couple of switches up here at the top, a little speaker button right here, and then a place for a microcontroller. So if we look at this one, that actually has all of it on it. The only thing that, excuse me, the only thing I had to do on this one different than my previous projects is I like putting a little mono amp on here. And currently it's part of the chip shortage. So no mono amp on this guy. But it's really easy to do in CircuitPython for a lot of tasks. I'm going to jump right back to the light box. So the scrolling text demo, the clock, and the war game thing. Those CircuitPython examples are actually part of the open source project that are available with this, and people are free to go steal it. I know a lot of people have actually gone and pilfered the font because it's convenient to have CircuitPython, a nice 5x7 font for doing any sort of text, and so that's available with the Lumis Stick library. You can just pull it from, it's on GitLab, and I think somewhere we're going to share all of our links. Mine is simply bradanlane.com, and you'll be able to find my GitHub repository, GitLab repository, etc. And so originally this was created because we had a competition to create a giant 7-segment display, and mine was about 3 meters tall. And I said, well, okay, I've done it. Now it's kind of useless. And so when I took the individual segments and stacked them side by side, what I actually ended up with was the demo you see running here in the middle with the little bouncing sticks on it, except that was about 1 meter tall. And I said, well, that's kind of fun, but it's not very portable and you can't put it on your desk. And so I decided I wanted to work on shrinking it down from about 35 centimeters to 18, or 1.8, sorry. Or 18. No, it's 18. And so that's what this one right here is, the little bouncy stick. But it wouldn't be a Lumis project if I didn't make a clock. And so that's the demo that actually ships with it. So it can, because the module has Wi-Fi, it's an ESP32S2. So if we look at this right here, this little ESP32S2 gives you Wi-Fi capability, so you can hook it up to the internet and you could pull text from something and scroll it. So a tweet could be scrolled. I just use it for grabbing the internet time to display the clock and have it update automatically. And took me a little while to get this thing sort of assembled to where I like it. And if you look back over on my light box demo here real quick, the back two are using LED acrylic. So it's when there's nothing behind it, it just looks black, but the LEDs will shine right through it, and it looks kind of cool. And you can easily compare what it looks like with the LED acrylic versus without. The three in the front don't have it, and so you can actually see the individual LEDs even when they're off. But with the LED acrylic, it looks nice. It completely masks any of that LED look. So that is the LumosStick. I'm going to keep my time short so somebody else can have a little extra. And if anybody in the group here wants to ask a question, or we'll take one in the later.
We had a question in the chat about your 3-meter tall LumosStick. Was that made out of fluorescent light tube?
No. I cheated when I made that. So that was actually made using, the standard 5mm WS2812s in a big long strip, and I literally just stuck it to these fiberglass poles that I got. And so because there were so many of them, I had to feed a big power supply. I had to feed 5 volts to each one of the sticks at both ends. And so I still have those sticks, and I created a little piece of wood to kind of keep them spaced out correctly. But it's pretty unruly to move around.
Yeah. One little thing, I really like the demo in the middle where the pieces bounce around and then land somewhere else when they first drop. I think I retweeted that, and I got like 20 likes on the retweet itself. So people really like that, and I like it too.
Yeah, and actually, if you go to the any of the links that will get you to the LumosStick, there's a link to that demo. It's very poorly documented right now, but I'm in the process of actually writing the documentation. But that's all open source as well. And as soon as I finish the spectrum analyzer and speed it up a bit, that will be open sourced.
Cool.
So, and that's just using a single pin. It's not using any sort of special hardware on the back. I did try it with a microphone, and it worked, but the microphone doesn't pick up the low end very well. So that version of the demo is, I found a little simple circuit of a couple of resistors and a capacitor to take line in and feed it directly to an analog pin on a ESP32. So that's how that one's wired up.
That was going to be my question. I was going to say, you said that there's an amp involved, so you have audio on board. I missed that.
It was so just so that people who are building projects can do things like beeping and alarm and stuff. When I did the Lumis Ring, I put a single mono amp off the GPIO pin to the little speaker buzzer to boost the volume. And right now I don't have access to that chip right now. I should have had it by now, and then it was November, and then it was January, and now it's May of next year. So I don't know when I'm going to get that chip. So it does have audio on it, but it's pretty faint. It's usable for like debugging and and to know that you've pressed the buttons, but it's not something you're going to be able to hear across the room.
There was a question about the black LED acrylic, and I mentioned in the comments, I get mine in the US from Tap Plastics, but I think you can get large quantities directly from, I think it's acrylite in the US, and I think it's plexiglass in Europe and the rest of the world, I think.
Yep, and I actually found my local acrylics and plastic supplier carries it or can get it very quickly. So I buy, 4x8 sheets of it. They call it Secret Sign. That's the, brand name that it goes under for them. And they use it for very large signs because they do, commercial installs and stuff. But I was fortunate that I was able to just, order at the same time I order all my other acrylic and plexiglass stuff.
Sweet. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
They look wonderful. I missed all the questions because I've just been like watching the bouncing the whole time.
Yeah, the bouncing stick is my favorite.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get rid of that. I'm also enjoying hanging up here with my new duck friend. He's gonna live on my shoulder for a while. Okay. Thank you, Bradan. I'm gonna pass it off now to John, who's joining us, I think, for the first time, right?
Yes, it is. And thanks very much for having me on the show. My name is John Macrae. I have a YouTube channel called it's John Macrae, Mostly Magic Smoke, which really describes my attitude to my fun electronics, which does frequently involve the release of magic smoke. I'm a retired engineer. It would seem in the pre-chat that I'm even younger, or rather even older than Bradan. So I'm not going to really give you my age, but Bradan, there's no need to hide. Look, there's plenty of gray hair here. Anyway, what have I been working on in the last month? I'm going to go back actually a long way, because typically you'll find me working on things like this. This is my CAN bus enabled battery management system, or battery protection system, I tend to call it, for lithium iron phosphate cells. So that was a home build that I use on a boat. And I have various other boards here that are going to come into play when I tell you a story. Back in January 21, I think, if we could share my screen now, please. Back in January 21, I decided that I was going to build a camper van. So I bought a camper van, and it came as I didn't buy a camper van, I bought a panel van, and decided to make it my own, which involved insulation, lots of woodwork. It involved me getting the glass out. And if we can go back to the camera for a moment. Oh, I'm still here. So yeah, I went as mad as Bit Looney normally might go, and got the angle grinder out and marked up the inside of the van. If we switch back to the desktop now, please. Marked it up and got the angle grinder out and started cutting holes everywhere in the sides. And the problem being, in the middle of winter, it was really cold. So I had to heat the adhesive up with water, hot water, just to make it flow, because we had a particularly cold winter. So I did the sides, and then I got up on the roof and started hacking holes in the roof too. And yeah, there's some of the bits left over. And yeah, it really concentrates your mind when you get an angle grinder out and start being up on the roof and cutting holes on what you're really actually standing on. And these vans are pretty flimsy. And after a while, you find yourself covered in shavings and trimmings from all kinds of materials you probably shouldn't be breathing. So we insulated, we built the floor, more of that, more insulation, proper floor, window frames. And then we started with the platform for, yeah, the more important toilet, shower room. You can see it taking place, and on the right there, the central heating unit from China, because European ones weren't available.
I think that's the first camper van where somebody really put a toilet in there. Like whenever I see a YouTube video, it's never this dedicated porcelain toilet. I think I'm in awe right now. Or
It
even if
took
it's
a
plastic.
whole lot of planning just
Yeah.
to try and squeeze everything in. But
Squeeze.
anyway, bear with me. We'll get back to the electronics momentarily.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, and of course, a lot of time was spent trying to find the missing screw, which you only find out when you give up and you go indoors for a cup of tea in the middle of winter and find it's actually in the bottom of your shoe. Anyway, more holes were cut, this time for the exhaust, for the diesel and the dual fuel diesel and electric heater. I mentioned that we'll come back to this too. This is quite a useful 6 kilowatt heater, and you can warm up a van from 4 degrees to about 20 degrees in about 15 to 20 minutes in the middle of winter. So it's pretty good. Plumbed it into the diesel tank. Yeah. Which involved getting under the van in on a dry day in winter. Then we started on the furniture and producing rooms. And here that was my only shelter really, because in the middle of winter it was fairly grey, as you could see. Anyway, eventually we got to the stage where we could test the heater. There's the fuel line coming in just temporarily there. Power on. There was lots of 3D printing for bits to make other bits fit, brackets and supports. And this one, particularly important, Dave, you'll like this. That was to take the very noxious fumes that could come from the toilet and put them outside. And that lives under there. Oops. And there's a quick walkthrough there too, to give you some idea of space. It's all pretty tight. And now I did promise we would get to the electric-y bit. So I put in a 24 volt, 200 amp hour lithium pack. And of course, I've got these slides slightly out of order. That's the fan, Dave, for the toilet. Anyway, I formed them into a 24 volt pack, wired it up and got that installed and balanced. This really isn't the right set of photos, but never mind. Got it all wired up to a 3 kilowatt inverter. Found that the cheap Chinese battery links really should be thrown in the bin if you ever do a project like this. Buy a piece of copper bar from your local metal supplier and make your own. And then you have a chance of your battery management system actually measuring accurate voltages under load, because the voltage drop across these is not really very friendly. I added solar. That's a 380 watt solar panel for the roof, and then started wiring it all in. So DC to DC converters to provide control, battery cutoffs, and obviously a massive main switch. And of course, a battery pack like that demands its own battery protection system. So I homebrewed that with an ESP32 in the middle here, some rather old style slow ADCs, but since I only test the voltage every couple of seconds, that was quite adequate and a whole lot more stable than some of the more modern, much faster ones, like the ADS 1115 that everybody seems to use. And to be honest, the Chinese knockoff ones are not very reliable. So yeah, we made that up, and I chose the ESP32 with the remote antenna, and that gives me more range, so I can log in. Well, the system will attach itself to the house Wi-Fi when I'm here, and also to Wi-Fi router in the van when I'm traveling, so I can be anywhere pretty much and look at the battery voltage. And I used ESP Rainmaker for that, so it was Espressive's own system, which made life really easy. Has anyone spotted the deliberate mistake on this yet? No? We might get to it. I'll show you. There's a clue. Yeah, I forgot the serial port adapter to program it. So this, I allowed for a CAN bus interface. So I decided I'd just borrow the serial connections from that to upload the program. A little bit of an oversight, but never mind. This is it in place in its 3D printed box. And it sits off to the left of this. That's pretty much the electrics finished. And you get the idea that it's all coming together now. That was it finished. I think that was this morning, actually, because I was away for the weekend. In it, very comfortable double bed, kitchen, bathroom. And sorry, I'm getting an echo because my wife's watching this next door. We have a fridge and plenty of storage. And as you can see, it's all really quite spacious. I'm really quite pleased with it.
There was a question what the ceiling height is inside.
I am 5'11", and there's a good 3 or 4 inches above my head. This is a high top van. It's a Fiat Ducato, so it's the H3 version.
Looks amazing.
You can sit there and enjoy your shower, enjoy the use of the toilet.
Is there a little window for the toilet?
There isn't a little window. There is a vent in the roof.
Yeah.
And there's a story about that because, and forgive me if I'm going over time, but the vent in the roof is really tight on the solar panel. So I had to raise the solar panel up.
Yeah.
So I had just a millimeter or two of clearance, so it would open quite nicely. But the benefit of that is, of course, that I have lots of shading on the roof, so it keeps it cooler. And that's us out in anger. Oh, what I should have said is, if we switch back now, the geekery comes in. Can I get my face camera back, please?
Yep. Oh.
Okay, so
all right, I've lost host privileges. I'm giving up.
You're doing fine.
You guys are really carrying this. Sorry, John. Go ahead. I'll give you a few extra minutes.
Okay, this is the 12-volt version of the battery protection system. But in the van, the lighting controllers are all on my own home-built board. This is a better example. So I can drive. Oh, let's get focused. This usually works.
To the middle. There we go.
Yeah, I can drive the WS2812s and the RGB. No, this isn't going to work. Never mind.
You said you didn't have LEDs. You misled us.
I haven't shown you any LEDs. I just talked about it.
That's fair. That's fair.
But this board is the one I've been working on just this last week. This is a LIN bus interface. Okay, the heating system I showed you is obviously you go to the controller and you set the temperature of the hot water. You set the temperature for indoors. So this is a board that's going to sit in between the controller and the heater and intercept the LIN bus protocol. So I can have remote control so that if I'm out in the cold, I can set the heating on when I'm due back in half an hour, and the van will be nice and warm for when I get back.
Cool.
So that's maybe I'll come back and talk about that in a future episode when I've maybe failed or maybe succeeded. Who knows? Anyway, I've taken enough of your time, and thanks very much.
No problem.
Nice.
Thank you.
It's a brilliant build.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like I can barely lay out a PCB that's like a few centimeters wide. Like to think about fitting all that stuff in a van sounds. I get maybe you have more tolerance. I don't know. It sounds difficult.
It wasn't really difficult. It's just time consuming. I mean, you know, and it's how much energy do you want to put into a project? I'm fortunate I'm retired, so I do run out of energy and things get put aside. And I have, if you were to look around here, then you would see lots of things that have been put aside for later.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. I forgot who was going to go third. Let's go with Dave. You
Yay.
Sweet.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah.
For the record, I was the one who put him in there.
Yes, you did.
Behind the scenes, there's a lot of stuff happening in this software that people are helping me with. But
I think I'm the only other person that can control who's
okay.
on and what spot, and just because I'm also logged in the account of the Makercast. Anyways,
I feel better.
Yeah. So next weekend I'm gonna be at the Maker Faire in Hanover, and I'm preparing all the projects that I could bring there. It's been like 3 years now, basically, since we've been there the last time. And I'm gonna bring BitLooney and Alex, Tiny LED Matrix, and my MX, Clem is gonna be there as well. So some familiar faces from the Makercast as well. And yeah, it's gonna be nice, hopefully, to just show people the projects and talk about stuff like that, and see some excited people. Hopefully they're excited about the projects that we bring. But yeah. So right now I'm in panic mode because I'm working on the projects that I wanted to bring, and I see like, okay, this isn't done. I'm not gonna finish this till Friday. So I'm a bit in a, I don't know, weird state with the projects, but I'm glad that I finalized, or at least made it wireless, one of my projects, which is the LED Dodecahedron. And I'll hold this here. Really happy about how the 3D print matches up now. Sometimes when it's glowing, I have a hard time finding the point where I can open it up again. Which is nice. It's held by 20 2 by 1 millimeter LED magnets, and right now it's just running this demo where all the tiles look the same. And I'm thinking about how I can map all the LEDs so it maybe forms not a circle, a sphere, and then I can draw on the sphere. And this kind of means that I first have to map all the LEDs to probably polar coordinate system, and from that turn it into something 2D with Cartesian XY stuff. So that's a lot of math. And yeah, it's a bit tricky to wrap my head around right now. But yeah, I'm super glad that I didn't have to solder on all these LEDs. It's like 612. It's 51 LEDs per side, and yeah, looks pretty nice. So
it looks amazing.
Yeah. There's the gap. Yeah, you can also.
I was gonna say, what did you print that on? The print really does look great.
It's amazing.
I got a DLP resin printer. So yeah, resin definitely is the way to go for something this small. I tried with the filament. I really tried because I didn't want to print with resin because it stings, and yeah, I had to figure out all the support and how much to put there. And at first I tried with MyMX resin, and I had a much smaller design still, and then everything ripped off, and so I had to find the right settings for the resin as well as printing something for the first time. So that was kind of tricky. And then I just went to the resin where I know that it should work with the printer, because I got both of them together, and that's how I got to that point. Yeah. Did I turn it off? Yes. There is also, oh yeah, there's a little botch wire, and I had to put that in on all the PCBs because I forgot to route one LED pin. Yeah, and so that's why one LED wasn't glowing first. What MCU am I using? That's a good question. So there are, I forgot the name of the IC that controls the LEDs. It's basically an I2C controller that controls all the RGB LEDs directly, which allows for a good power consumption. And in here is over there is a Xiao Sense the Bluetooth module, which also has an accelerometer and a microphone in there. So I could basically make this something where you shake it and then the light turns on, or can react to the music that surrounds it. So it's pretty cool. I really like the little thing, and it doesn't take away that much space, and lots of features, and it even can charge the battery. So yeah, that's a win-win, I guess.
I've been using those in all of my last how many projects. They are really great.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think I have anything. Oh, right. Yeah, I can quickly show off something that I probably haven't showed off 2 months ago, because it should be enough time that has passed. I made this myself on a lathe in my hackspace. I got an introduction, and we started doing this little lightsaber thing, and it also has a little thread, and I can put in an LED and the battery at one point, and then I have this little lightsaber thingy. I'm really proud of this.
That's
I'll
awesome.
show this everybody and make some advertisement for the hackspace when I'm there at the Maker Faire. Yeah.
Very cool.
Did you do that on a manual lathe or a CNC lathe?
It's well, what part would be manual then?
It wasn't a CNC lathe, right?
Right. Yeah. So there was nothing where I said like, okay, and here's the file, please do this. No, it was very manual with turning dials and then getting to a point and then hearing how you're driving it too fast, and then it's gonna and
Bridgeport I guess style. Should have been more specific, not manual as in like a wood lathe where you're holding the tools by hand.
No. Yeah. It's a right.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. I'm gonna kick it over to Jason.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a minute since I've been on the Makercast. I've been busy with several projects, but yeah, the one I wanted to at least start off talking about today is the Lux Lavalier, and it's a collaboration between myself, Evil Genius Labs, and Ben Hinke of Electromage. He makes the Pixelblaze Wi-Fi LED controller. If you haven't used it, definitely recommend checking those out. And Geek Mom Projects, who I think is on the in the comments, and she brought I brought the LED panel in here. It's very similar to the Fibonacci 64 Micro that I make. It's a 40 millimeter PCB with 64. These have WS2812, 22 millimeter squared WS2812s on it. And then like the one that I usually sell has a footprint on the back for a Zhao or a Cutie Pie by Adafruit. So it's a very similar LED, but for the Lux Lavalier, instead of WS2812s, I used the HDR SK9822, which you can drive at much higher frame rates and have much better bit depth on the color depth. So at low brightnesses, it looks much better, more shades of color between fully lit and not lit. So yeah, anyway, I brought the LED PCB. Ben Electromage brought the Pixelblaze, which is on the behind this 3D printed cover on the back. And it's a controller that has a ESP32, and it hosts its own web UI on the ESP32 over Wi-Fi. And so you can connect to it. You can either get it connected to your Wi-Fi, or it can host its own Wi-Fi network. You connect to it with your web browser on your phone or laptop, and it presents a web UI where you can choose different patterns. You can arrange those patterns into playlists, and then you can even interactively write code for your own patterns. You can edit any of the patterns that it comes with, see the source code, edit it dynamically, and it all renders in real time. It's a subset of JavaScript. So it's very, very interesting and powerful. And then Deborah of Geek Bomb Projects brought the brilliant battery necklace, magnetic battery necklace, whatever. So there's a 14500 rechargeable lithium-ion battery. It's the exact same size as a AA battery, but rechargeable lithium. So that snaps in there, and then the magnetic clasp closes the circuit, closes the loop, and then it's powered from that battery. It lasts a couple of hours, depending on the brightness, which we definitely reduce the brightness for these. This is at maybe 12%, 10% max brightness. And then there's a layer of the black LED acrylic that Bradan mentioned earlier. There's a layer of that on there, and I don't know if you can see it on here. Maybe if I turn it off. It's actually laser cut and etched with Voronoi grid of the LED pattern. And then on the back, the 3D printed cover, both the 3D printed cover and the battery cover, we prototyped in, Dave, like you were saying, we prototyped those in, with our regular FDM printers, but then we sent off to have them produced with SLS in nylon at reasonable cost at fairly low quantities. So, and then the bezel, you can see mine has a black bezel, and they're just traditional FDM 3D printed. But I printed a white one here, and I've released the file for that, the step and STL files for that on Printables. So you can 3D print your own in whatever color you want, whatever material you want. I'm really hoping to see people get really creative with the bezel as opposed to just a plain cylinder. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. They're currently on pre-order. There's a wait list for them. I've been on vacation, and then last weekend I was at the Silicon Valley Comic-Con event in San Jose, California, and right now Ben Hinkie is at Burning Man. So we've all been a little busy, but we have sent out some. I think there are some people in the comments that have some. We sent some out to some alpha and beta testers, and then we have started working our way down the wait list. So if you're on there, we will definitely get to you. So, and depending on how I'm doing on time,
I think you're fine.
Okay.
And there are some questions. I'll start flinging them in there for you.
Yeah. So this version does not have low voltage protection. So we did try to find some good lithium cells that have low voltage protection, and we're still kind of in search of better cells for that. We're already talking about another revision that will have that. But at a certain voltage, the LEDs drop out, stop displaying, swap the battery out, which is an advantage of having the battery easily swappable. But no, other than that, it does not have low voltage protection.
Here's a hopefully quick answer for you. What's the IP address?
Right. Yes. Yeah. It is 192.168.1.24.
All right, we're on it.
Yes. Go.
Wait, that's mine.
Yeah. It's my luggage. Real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out. I think I saw Bleep Track in the comments. So another thing that I've been working on was using her parametric overflower project. So I used it to generate a more organic Fibonacci pattern. And so this is 64 LEDs, WS2812, 2020 RGB LEDs on the back there. And then it has It's on the back. It's using the QT Pi from Adafruit. It's the same form factor as the C Jiao, but it's at SAMD 21, which has really good touch support. So the 6 mounting screws are also cap touch sensitive. So, and we had these at Silicon last weekend, and they were very popular. We mounted one really low where kids could get to it, and they just loved coming up and touching it. And it actually supports multiple at the same time if you touch two, and then the color actually blends wherever it makes.
Oh, cool.
Thanks.
It's very neat.
And this one actually is using fast LED, running on the QT Pi.
Mm.
So no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or anything on this one. But, so yeah, shout out to Leap Track. The generative work is amazing.
Yeah, shout out to all of you. Those are all just so thoughtfully designed. Like it's amazing how it comes together to be, it's stuff we can all buy in single quantities, and you guys have put together like a gorgeous product. It's always fun to see. It's always fun to see that kind of stuff come together.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been great to collaborate. I haven't done a lot of collaborations, and I'm definitely looking forward to more in the future. But collaborating with Ben and Deborah has just been amazing. We all bring different things to the collaboration, and yeah, I've learned a lot, and looking forward to more in the future.
Awesome. Sweet. All right. I guess I got to decide who gets to be stuck behind the duck for the rest of the time here, or I think maybe can we put people on the other side? Oh, no, sorry. All right.
Can you put me there?
I'll be the duck.
I'm going to put Braden because you got the blinky lights. All right, Dave's the duck.
I'm gonna kiss the duck now.
All right. I just panicked because I thought we were still doing this on our own channels. You were about to like get me suspended or something. All right. I'm gonna go pretty quick here. I have been working quickly in general. I am expecting a baby in a month, and so I have been going against my natural tendencies, which are to like focus in on a project and kind of build it out for a while. And I've been trying to basically just crank out every dumb idea that pops into my head, because I know I'm in for a kind of a major lifestyle change pretty soon. So I'm going to just rapid fire through some of the stuff I've been playing around with. And it's actually been really fun. I think it's a healthy exercise to, time box yourself every once in a while, give yourself a little self-imposed hackathon. So first thing I want to talk about, this monstrosity is something I built years ago. And it's an idea that's kind of been lingering in my head for a while. But so this jumble of wires, the most important thing here is these switches, which I'm going to try to get to focus, sweet. So these are hex switches. I think technically they're called thumb wheel switches, but these have like push buttons. So you click to proceed to the next digit value. Come on, you get the idea. 0 through F, and you can click through, and they're because 0 through F 16 values, it's a 4-bit switch, and so when I saw these, I'm a software developer, I'm an app developer, and I work with a lot of designers, and when I saw these, I immediately thought, oh man, hex color picker would be hilarious. Like in software you deal with when you're sending colors back and forth, you usually do it in hex RGB. And so I decided I'm going to make a mechanical color picker. And so this was set up to my Christmas tree probably 3 or 4 years ago. And I had the WS2812s all the way down, and you could pick the color with this. This was like dangling like the ugliest ornament in history. But you could go up and change the color. But I always said, like, I love this idea of like, let's take something that's very easy to do in software, a very specific job, and make like kind of a boutique tool for making it happen. So these switches are extremely expensive, extremely hard to find, so I never did anything with them, but I did happen to stumble on these recently. So same idea, hex switch, 4 bits, so you apply a voltage to one of the center pins, and then each of the 4 pins in the corners, it's the 1-bit, 2-bit, 4-bit, 8-bit. And as you twist, they are connect it to the voltage, aligned with whatever value you have picked. So I decided to make a little PCB. I'm calling it the dial toner. And basically it's just going to be 6 of those hex switches lined up, 2 for R, 2 for G, 2 for B. And then at the end, it's going to be just a mechanical keyboard key with a WS2812 underneath. So basically you dial in the color that you want. And when you hit the button, I'll have it as acting as a keyboard, and it'll just send the hex value to whatever design software you're in. So again, I like this idea of having a silly hardware tool to do an otherwise very easy software job. But those orders are in, and I'm excited to get them. I wish I had gotten them done before this, but hopefully they'll show up before a human does. We'll see how that goes. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, forgive me for putting just like my tweet on screen here, but you're not going to hear any audio, I don't think, but you don't need to. This is Rakakuni, my little animatronic friend here. So you heard that right. It's Rakakuni. If you're unfamiliar with the reference, there's a movie out called Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I highly recommend seeing. I loved it. This is, without spoilers, this is from that movie. And this is my Halloween costume, which I probably won't get to take out this year, but I really wanted to get it done. So that is also, we're on the Zhao train. That is also Dave. That's running the same board. Inside his body, there's a little Zhao, and then it's just 3 servos, 1 in the head, 1 in each arm, and then I elasticed my hair to his hands. And actually, if you watch the end here, I added gaze tracking. So using my webcam, because the raccoon has Bluetooth up his butt, I can like track my eyes with my webcam and then send the position to the raccoon via Bluetooth. So I'm not going to answer this. Watch the movie. Yes and no, no and yes. Definitely just watch the movie. It's excellent.
Can you scroll up, please? I want to see the likes on that video.
Sure.
Okay, nice.
It did. I was very happy that I tagged the directors. It's directed by the Daniels, and they retweeted it, and that was nice. a fun little Twitter moment I had. But yeah, that for a quick project, it's like literally armature wire and 3 servos. Like, I was very pleased with that. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about, and this is something I've talked about on every. Can I get myself here? Oh, I don't need to be the only person. I've talked about on every Makercast, and it's like I feel like Makercast is responsible for me pushing this forward at some spiritual level. Is the hit clips. So on my first Makercast, I was just kind of noodling with the idea. I think I had to put my first circuit together that actually was effectively a hit clips cartridge, which if you don't know, it's one of these. They were a little toy for playing music in the late 90s. This is Baha Men Who Let the Dogs Out. That gives you a sense of when in pop culture these were happening. So these were sold to kids. They played 30 seconds of a song. They sound terrible. It was before MP3 players came out, so kids loved them. And you could buy all these fun little players that had all different types. But yeah, first Makercast I was on, I was like, I want to do something with these. I took some blog posts I had found where someone figured out the pinout of the cartridges, and I said, I'm going to make my own cartridges. So that was the first Makercast. Second Makercast I was on, I had just finished the first version, which I have a YouTube video up. I think my channel is linked down below if you want to see where I kind of introduce it. And I actually had a physical cartridge that I made that would work in the old players. You know the lyrics. And so my latest update with the hit clips is this is the latest version, which I'm very, very happy with. And even though it won't focus, man, I need a new camera, huh? Whatever, you get the idea. It is a 3D printed transparent case. I did that with PCBWay at somebody's recommendation on the Makercast. So thanks for that. And then this version is, I'm going to try to pop the actual board out here. This version is running, it's an RP2040. And I'm using the PIO from the RP2040 to drive the actual audio. And otherwise, it's just running CircuitPython because all it's doing is reading the media off from the flash, turning it into the audio PWM. And so it's a really nice combination where I get the fast output from the PIO, but I get to use with file.open to get the data out. So that's nice. So yeah, I'm working on these. I'm hoping to get these in people's hands. I'm going to show one last thing here. I got to do my friends are in this band called Future Teens. That's the clip that I was just showing here. And they asked me to film a music video for them. So I'm now a music video director. And yeah, this was super fun. It's just like the video. It's more like a lyric video than a full music video, but the video is literally just me playing their song with the hit clips. Oh no, we're gonna get copyright. Check out Future Teens; they're awesome, by the way. But yeah, it's been really fun seeing people react to these, and it's probably my longest running project now, and so it's nice to have a reason to iterate on something and actually kind of push it forward. So I'm grateful for the response.
I think you also made everybody that was on that first Makercast buy something.
Yeah.
Like buy hit clips.
Yeah.
And I remember taking mine apart, and then I found a resistor on the hit clip, and I removed it and added a variable resistor onto it, and then I
nice.
had the speed control of the song. So I was like playing Backstreet Boys very, very slow.
Yeah.
Which was kind of interesting.
That's great. Very cool.
Yeah. It was a fun teardown, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been I'm happy to be rebranded as like the hit clips guy. That's like if that's what I'm going to be on the internet moving forward, I think I'm okay with that. I think that's it. I didn't. It's fine if nobody has questions for me. I won't be offended. People are talking about Python. People are talking about JavaScript. We don't need to bring that all into the main event here. Quiz time. There is no quiz. I'm sorry. I'm a bad host.
You're busy with projects, which is.
I'm busy. Yeah, but yeah. Thank you, Dave. You're right. I shouldn't be so hard on myself.
Also, I'm not sure what you're supposed to say when somebody is expecting a child, but good luck on that endeavor, I guess. And
good luck works for me.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Get
that.
all your sleep now.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's hard already, but I know it's gonna get different, but I'm excited.
Awesome.
All right, with that, I think we're gonna call it. Thank you all for joining us. It looks like our number has stayed pretty stable, so thanks for sticking around. If you've been here the whole time, all of our stuff is down below, and I mentioned at the top there is a new newsletter we're doing, which is really, really great. And the access to that should be down below. You can sign up to get that in your inbox.
I don't think that's the new one, though.
Is it not new?
Oh, yeah. No.
I think that's the old letter where we're supposed to post when we're going live with the Makercast and stuff. So I have to edit that.
Okay, so it will be soon.
Yeah.
But not that much soon. No pressure, Dave.
I'll just see if I can find the link. But no, anyways, it'll
be there. It'll be there at some point. You should sign up, and if not, you can find. We've been posting it on Twitter and stuff too. So, yeah, thanks a bunch, everyone, for all my guests here, and thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you for hosting.
Fun.
Yeah,
no problem.
Thanks. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you. All right. Farewell. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.